Hello there, everyone. Ashnflash here, and welcome on into my spoiler review for Joker Folie à Deux, I believe is how it's said, but it's just Joker 2, or Joker the Musical is probably a more accurate name for this film. As usual, we're going to go non-spoilers, spoilers, and then Lego talk, and then you can find time codes and chapters down below if you want to hop around, but let's jump into non-spoilers. This is my second time attempting to record this because it's tough for non-spoilers to talk about this without giving anything away. I guess I'll just talk about my sort of, opinions on this Joker that I had going into this. I already am not the biggest fan of that original film. It took a lot of inspirations from existing movies, and it just, for me, especially having watched those, it wasn't too interesting, like the King of Comedy and different things like that. So I felt like they just borrowed a lot from that. But in terms of it being a DC film and a Joker movie, I also do not really like it. I don't like a Joker without a Batman. And I think that it's interesting that something like this gets a pass. Meanwhile, everyone's so hard on all the Sony movies. I know that quality-wise, they're obviously not great. But it's just interesting that the number one complaint is, oh, Venom's never met Spider-Man. And then here we are with this Joker, and everyone's okay with it, which I just think is just fascinating to me. But yeah, for me, I need a Joker and a Batman. They are two sides of a coin for me, and they can't exist without the other. And I think it's very frustrating because there's so much potential, I feel like, specifically in the sequel, that I was like, oh, this could have been so good. And if it was, with Batman or more, actual DC universe that they cared about the lore and different things. So, yeah, again, I need a Joker. For me personally, I like one that falls into a vat of acid. I really do. I like that, and the bleached skin and the green hair and different things. I really like that, and how, Batman's a part of his origin, and sometimes Joker's a part of his origin, right? So I enjoy that aspect of that, and that's not really existent here, except they sort of set that up in the first one, but I need to talk about that more in spoilers. But yeah, I don't know. I can't really talk about Harley too much and her introduction and performance. I think that, like, acting wise, it's fine. It's good. I don't think it's as good as the first one. I do have some positive things to say about this. I think it's a beautifully shot film. There are some moments and different things, especially that tie into the first film, that I was like, oh, this was actually really cool. And I appreciate this. It got me, pulled on my heartstrings and different things. And I like that aspect of it. Again, they sing a lot. I had made a joke about on Twitter, 17 songs or something like that. And there is at least 15 songs is what we were told going into this film. And I'm pretty sure they probably sing more. They sing the same song multiple times. So there is genuinely a lot of singing. And it really got too much. There were 6 people in my theater, and one of them was snoring for 80% of the film, fell asleep very early on, and it was just not a very pleasant experience. And if this upsets you, I truly apologize, but after the 17th song, I did pull out my phone and just started to look up what the heck is going on here, messaging my friends that had already seen it, being like, oh my goodness, this is really bad, wondering how much longer this film is going to go for, because 5 songs in, and it's a lot back to back. I started to pull off my glasses and just face palm and scrunch my face of just what the heck is happening. And I haven't even talked about the ending of this film, which is absolutely just garbage. So yeah, there is a lot to talk about in spoilers. So let's just jump into things. I want to start with, I know in the past, I think I had said I was more interested in the sequel to this film than anything else. And that happens sometimes for movies. For me, the reason I was more interested was because of the stuff that they did with the Waynes. I thought was just fascinating, of Joker having this huge influence on people. That night that he got arrested and everything, that they just went and terrorized Gotham. And one of the clowns killed the Waynes. And I also, as I'm saying this, just remembered that he was running for mayor. You think they talk about any of that in this film? Nothing. Not a single word. Talk about, they make mention of, oh, look, all of Joker's, the influence that he has on people. Look at them. They're all outside the asylum chanting his name. They're outside the courthouse, blah, blah, blah. Do you ever talk about that night? No, you're focused on this one guy who killed 5 people over, 4 weeks, they said? Like, that to me was more damaging. A mayoral candidate, one of the most influential families in Gotham, is gunned down. And you don't want to talk about that? Even in terms of Batman lore. Oh my goodness. Nothing. Not a single thing. Which I just think, it's crazy to me how much the Waynes were in that film. The mom lied about him being a Wayne. So much there, and they just dropped that. I think is just fascinating to me. So yeah, talk about that. Talk about how there were crime sprees. But no, we only just see Harley, and she watched this TV movie that we never get to see, but it's mentioned like 5 times throughout the film. About how she watched him multiple times, and then she wanted to meet him, and all of these different things. I guess we'll just get her out of the way. I was really liking some of this. Like, truly, I did. I like I said before, I enjoyed parts of this. I liked when they broke out of the asylum, or just into the courtyard. I liked that little chase. And for a second, I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like, this could have been great. I'm trying to, like, imagine, like, him in full green hair and white skin and everything would just be so fun if like Harley was breaking him out of the asylum. Like that would be great. And then have Batman chase them. Like, it makes me sad that this is probably the most we've seen of a Harley and Joker relationship on screen in live action, and it's just wasted on this musical. I don't know. Was she crazy? She's just a liar and just wanted attention. I don't really think she was crazy per se, but I don't know what to say about her. Like, I just didn't find it interesting. I liked her outfits. I liked how they had diamonds in them, like she was wearing a necklace or she had the leggings on and different things. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool that they've got that being referenced throughout this. Yeah, singing though, okay, yeah, of course, she's got an amazing voice, and Joaquin Phoenix can sing too. He's obviously not probably trying as much here as he has in the past, like for Walk the Line and different things, and because I don't think Arthur is necessarily supposed to have the most amazing singing voice. I didn't even mind when they were dancing on the rooftop. I thought that was very nice and well shot, and it just, there was so much singing. Like, there truly was too much singing, so close to each other. And another thing too, I don't know any of these songs. If they were songs that I knew, maybe things would be different here, maybe. And all the songs that I did know were just playing on the radio, and they weren't ever any of the songs that they were singing. So there was that aspect of it, and that's a personal bias. I understand that. Like, if they were songs I knew, I'm sure that I maybe would have been singing along too. Just like the security guard every single time. People are saying, oh, at least they took a swing. Yeah, you could take a swing, and it can also be good. This wasn't good. And market this as a musical, because it's so scummy not to. And I get why they're not doing it, but the reactions that people are having of, people saying every time a song came on or they started a new musical set number, they walked out. And I understand. Like, this is not what you signed up for sure. There's stuff cut from this. There was no dancing on the steps. So much of this, I'm just marketing wise, is not the move, I think. And guess what? it's tracking between the Flash and the Marvel's numbers. So just think about that for a second. Oh my goodness, this is a huge bomb. Speaking of bombs, when that bomb went off at the end, I wasn't fazed. Like, I was just like, oh, okay. I never felt on edge with this film. It wasn't shocking. None of this was shocking, honestly. And I loved that original score. And whenever it came back in this film, got goosebumps. And I was like, oh my goodness, I actually really missed that. I think a better film title for this would have been The Trial of Joker. I think would have been better. I wonder if it being this French title, if people are thinking it's actually in French. I don't know. I'm just throwing that idea out there too. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Harvey Dent. I really enjoyed the fact that he was prosecuting him. I thought that was interesting. I don't know why they made him the assistant DA and just not the DA. But yeah, then with the bomb going off, I thought, okay, oh, they're gonna blow off the side of his face, and it was just nothing. It was just a couple of like cuts and different things. I was like, really? You set him up. It could have just been a no-name lawyer, but you set him up as this. That's boring. At least they committed and killed the Waynes in the first one, but not that meant anything here. One of my favorite things was when they brought back the characters from the first film. It was interesting to see Sophie and just her talking about like what Arthur's mom said to her and different things like that. It was fine, and it riled him up in different things. I thought that was interesting. I thought maybe Lee was going to be jealous, but then that would have been interesting. But nope, she wasn't jealous of that. Wasn't jealous of him kissing the lawyer. Anyways, but then it was really great with Gary. Like, that was one of my favorite bits. I appreciated that performance, and honestly, that could be my favorite scene of just him, minus the voice that he was putting on to pretend to be a lawyer and different things. I enjoyed just him talking about like, Arthur, you were the only one that was nice to me, and he was scared, he can't sleep. And that's what's interesting. That is perfect. And even going back to Sophie, she moved town, she left the building, took her kid out of fear, never talked to the cops, and never, gave her statements. That's interesting. The impact that he left on the first film, explore that. That is much more interesting than having Lady Gaga sing a song, them having some weird sex scene that somehow she was allowed into this prison cell. It's amazing how much they allowed these criminals to be doing in the asylum. Oh my goodness. But again, best parts of the film was when they brought things back to the first one. I even liked the reveal of him talking about how he killed his mom. Okay, however, now we'll talk about the ending. I didn't like the fact that he backtracked and is no longer Joker. I understand, again, maybe it's hypocritical or it doesn't make sense what I'm saying, but I liked narratively hearing like Gary's accounts and different things. I wish it didn't have an impact on Joker. He should have blown it off, because again, Joker is this agent of chaos. He's so much more than just a guy in clown makeup, right? That it would have been so much more interesting to explore, again, the influence on that he had that night, and even the fact that he's not remorseful for any of these things. That would have been fun. Like, there were moments where like he wrote in the guy's the book or whatever, like that note, like that dark humor and him being bad is interesting. Don't redeem him. That's not interesting. That's not the Joker. And again, I'm saying because they call him that all throughout this film. But that ending of him being stabbed, of a psychopath walks into a bar and there's a clown that he looked up to, yada yada. This guy that they had been showing the entire film, smiling and looking at him in different things. Okay, he kills him and stabs him and then, cuts his mouth open and different things. Of course, it's great now. We've got people jumping to, that's Heath Ledger's Joker, and that makes no sense. And but I like the idea here that the Joker's influence is still being spread to now this guy, right? Like, that's fascinating. If they had explored that, even when he breathed the smoke into Harley, right? Not like, I'm not saying in a magical or spiritual sense that he's like imbuing his Joker essence into these people. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe, that was the moment with her. And I think that's would have been much more interesting if she was an actual psychiatrist. And from a film perspective, her starting to fall in love with him, they have that moment, let's put all that aside, when she's trying to help him, and then they're in the cell, they kiss, whatever, and then he does that with the smoke, and then boom, that's sort of the moment that sets her off, and she goes on this spree and different things like that. I genuinely believe with Harley that it would have been so interesting for people to experience a true version of Harley, of her falling in love over these multiple sessions. To me, that's so much more interesting. And speaking of connections with that first film, I don't understand the ending of the first one. We see that he was clearly older. He's recounting his stories and different things to the psychiatrist, presumably in Arkham. And then he kills her, and that's the final shot of the film. And then I remember people being like, well, what was real, what wasn't? Because this was him recounting his story to this therapist. But with this ending, if he does die in Arkham, in this grimy, disgusting looking Arkham, not this nice fancy one, then how does that work? And it also removed so much of what made that first film special, which was what was real and what's not, and just how many discussions and videos and different things did that spark with that ending. Here, there's none of that. Anyways, Lego talk. I think I said this before, but I really would like a little diorama of the stairs and him dancing from the first film. Make it from the second film and them dancing on it. Use the 18 plus branding, Lego, please. I beg you. But yeah, obviously that's not going to happen. And I think I've said this before too, but a Brickheads would work really well too. And obviously with this one, it could be a little double pack, getting them both. I would really like that. I would. If they ever do some sort of anniversary thing for the Joker, like we just got for Batman, it's like 8-in-1 Joker. I hope they don't skip out on him because I think it would work really well. But obviously, I could see Lego never, ever, ever doing anything for this. Anyways, everybody, what do you think of this? I trying to think of the last time that I was this negative about reviewing something. But yeah, I did not like this film. Thoroughly didn't enjoy it. And I think it really does tarnish the legacy of the first one. But what do you think of this? Be sure to subscribe, turn the bell notification so you don't miss out on future Lego and DC and Joker, Batman, everything. Hope you guys did enjoy the video. Hope you all have a great day. I'll see you all in the next one.